What is slow living? Where did it come from? Will it make me happier? Is it even possible to slow down in the 21st century? My name is Kat. Welcome to episode 1 of the Slow Living Guide, where I give you the A to C on slow living and hopefully provide a pocket of calm in your day. In today's episode, I will be discussing the origins of the slow living movement, as well as talking a little bit about why it is so countercultural yet so needed in the Western world. Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss the rest of the series. It is 1986 and Italy's first McDonald's is soon to be established in Rome. Enter Carlo Petrini, a journalist who organises what I can only describe as a pasta protest, as a backlash against the growing fast food industry. Petrini, along with fellow activists, was concerned that the expansion of the fast food industry would rob people of regional traditions and their slower pace of life. So, in 1989, the international slow food movement was born. Let me read to you the first few lines of the Slow Food Manifesto. Born and nurtured under the sign of industrialization, this century first invented the machine and then modelled its lifestyle after it. Speed became our shackles. We fell prey to the same virus, the fast life that fractures our customs and assails us even in our own homes, forcing us to ingest fast food. The slow food movement soon led to an increase in slow cities, initially in Spain and Italy, but now spread throughout the world. A slow city is, according to Macmillan Dictionary, a city which promotes a high-quality environment and healthy eating based on locally grown and prepared food. As a child, I lived in what could to some extent be called a slow city in Central Asia, though this was more by merit of being situated in a yet developing and doubly landlocked country than as a result of the slow living movement. We ate and lived in a simple way, but we had everything we needed, and I can honestly say that in that season I was happier with less. Since the slow food movement, many other slow living niches have sprung up. Slow money, slow health, slow travel, slow home design, slow fashion, and many, many more, which I'll be discussing in future episodes, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay updated on that. Though slow living may seem at face value to be just another fad in a long line of trends, the reality is that slow living has been around for thousands of years. In fact, I would argue that slow living is the natural rhythm that humans have danced to since the dawn of creation. Human beings didn't always have clocks, and even with the invention of the sundial, we still slept and rose in accordance with the sun's trajectory. This all changed with the invention of electrical light in the early 1800s, which became widespread amongst Western homes by the early 1900s. Before this, human beings walked in step with the seasons and accepted the limitations of humanity, our need for rest and the quiet of the night. Now we fill our days with work simply because we can or feel like we should, in spite of the fact that our bodies are physically not designed for 70-hour working weeks. We forget that we are as much a part of nature as the tides of the sea and the birds of the air. We keep fighting against our own bodies, pushing ourselves from deadline to deadline, and then wonder why we're so tired, so anxious, so discontent, so sad. It's no wonder that our societies are so rife with mental health problems and dissatisfaction, when so much of the way we live is harmful to our relationships, our health, and our souls. But there is another way. a slower way. From Buddhism to Christianity, most world religions can agree on one thing at least. Peace can be found in slowing down and being still in the moment. But where do we begin with cultivating slow living in our everyday lives? I think part of the answer to this can be found in slow living's sister movement of simple living, sometimes referred to as minimalism. While these do have slightly different focuses in an everyday practical sense, slow living and simple living have a great deal of overlap in their general philosophies. While simple living is centered around intentionality with what we have, I believe that slow living is centered around intentionality in who we are. And as so much of who we are is reflected in our homes and possessions, simple living is a way of getting back to basics and reconnecting with our core values. Through being intentional with the way we consume, we are able to slow down and become more mindful about the sorts of people we want to be and cultivating a kinder, more generous way of life. On the flip side, by slowing down and looking inwards to find out what kind of people we want to be, we may just naturally find that we let go of the false need for unnecessary possessions. As good as it is to reap personal benefits from this kind of lifestyle, I don't believe that slow and simple living should be just for ourselves and to our own merit. The Western world has become inherently individualistic and ambitious, and it's been at the cost of our relationships, our health, and our spirituality. Of course, being an individual and having ambition is a good thing. But when we let our individualism and our ambition overshadow our love for others, that's where there can be a bit of an imbalance. What I've found is that slowing down is a way to tip the scales. At its heart, slow living is to be present in the moment and walk with intentionality through the journey of life. To choose not to chase after the shiny distractions of the world only to lose our souls, but to slow down and learn who we were made to be. Ultimately, it is about learning to deep dive into life's ocean rather than just skimming the surface, to know ourselves and be known, to love and be loved. I'm not going to sit here and say that slow living is the answer to all life's problems, because the truth is that as long as we're living on this earth, we will have problems. Rather, as beautifully expressed in one of my favourite prayers, it's a way of finding serenity to accept the things we cannot change, courage to change the things we can, and wisdom to know the difference. So, what makes it so hard for you to slow down these days? I'm really interested to know what you think, so be sure to drop me a comment down below and I'd love to have a conversation with you. Once you've left me your thoughts, be sure to like the video, share it with a friend who you think might benefit from the message, subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss next week's episode. I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of slow living, so until next time, it was lovely to have you here.